everybody, how's it going? If you're new here, welcome. Today we'll be looking at the Redragon MPC745. Redragon sent their newest full-fledged mini PC over for us to check out. I think we're the first one they've sent it to, so this is going to be super exciting. We're going to be looking at benchmarks, gaming, the OS. There's two of them, plus a third one that I'm going to put on there. Technically four, because we're just redoing one of them. So we've got a lot to cover here, and there's a lot of details. So strap in, get comfortable, and let's dive into it. All right, and here we are, the Redragon Celestium, or MPC745 mini PC. Got a wonderful glossy print here right on the top. And right here on the back, we do have some of the tech specs here, such as the CPU, the memory, the storage, the connectivity, and the audio. This does come with an AMD Ryzen 7, and does have quite a bit of RAM and storage, which we'll go over that here in just a second in the tech specs. And right on here on the bottom, we do have the dual output, the size of the mini PC, and that it does have a AMD AI or NPU built into it. Now we'll go ahead and get this sleeve off of the case. And of course, before we do that, we will get into the tech specs and let's see what everything we have. We had some of that information on the back, but there is more. As I mentioned, this is a AMD Ryzen 7 8845HS. It's an 8-core, 16-thread CPU, which can boost up to 5.1 gigahertz. And in my experience, it can go a little bit above that. For the graphics, we do have a Radeon 780M for the graphics. And then, of course, we do have that NPU that's inside of here as well. It does come with 16 gigs of DDR5 5600 megahertz dual-channel RAM. It can be expanded up to 32 gigs. For the storage, we do have a 1 terabyte 4.0 M.2 SSD, which can be expanded up to a 4 terabyte. But there are two slots that are inside of the mini PC, which we'll check out here later. It runs at a 45-watt TDP. Does have a 2.5 gigabit, which is nice. Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2. It supports up to 3 displays with the HDMI 2.1, display port 1.4, and the USB-C/USB 4 connector can do a display of 1.4 as well. Now, a really neat thing with that USB 4 is they should be compatible with a external graphics card. I don't have an adapter, and I couldn't test that, but being USB 4, it should have that capability. Additionally, we do have two USB-A 3.2 Gen 2 USBs and two USB-A 2.0s. A 3.5 millimeter audio jack, and this will be coming with Linux and or Windows 11 Home Edition, which we'll check out here in just a bit. Now, with all those specs out of the way, I do have to ask you a question. If you don't mind, you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, maybe hitting the like of the video if you like what you've seen so far. We do have plenty more left to go, so if you haven't made up your mind yet, that's okay. We can continue on through the video. And let's see what else we got. And if you do so like it, go ahead and drop a like and a subscribe. And if you have any questions, if I don't cover something, let me know. I'm absolutely happy to test anything that you would like. I've got two SSDs, one for Linux, one for Windows. So if you have a question on either side, happy to test that and get back to you. Which, speaking of getting back, let's hop back into the unboxing. All right, so let's go ahead and get this magnetic box open. And right on top, we have the mini PC and the manual. We've got these really nice tabs here on the side to go ahead and pull everything out. There's a little hole right here on the bottom to go ahead and pull out the accessory box. And that's pretty much it. That'll automatically close back with the magnets, but we'll go ahead and get it out of here for now. And then we're going to start with the accessory box here. Go ahead and open it up to see what we have inside. It's really nicely packed where nothing will move around. And, of course, I just realized that it's plugged up there, so we got to pull the little tab here. And then we can get everything out. We do have the power cord and the power brick. And so we should be able to get these things plugged up together, and we'll check the wattage here on the back so everybody can see that, just in case you ever need a replacement in the future. Try and get that to focus here. You have 20 volt and 5 amps on the output. And then here's the model number if you ever need to find a second one of these. We'll go ahead and put that down. We don't need that just yet. Let's go ahead and get the mini PC out of its housing and the nice foam that they have. It's a little stuck in there, but it'll come out. Don't worry about it. We'll go ahead and get it out of the bag. And we have the manual right here on top, which we'll check out here. And then we do have the mini PC with the nice Redragon logo. All right, the manual is pretty basic, and I will have some addendums that I'll have to tell you here later, but we do have a full display of all the ports that are on the mini PC, how to undo the screws, and how to pop off the under case. You have to show how to upgrade the SSD, and it shows both slots. How to install your RAM, and then we'll show additionally the full layout of everything pre-installed. Then, of course, the safety regulations and how to operate and things like that, plus some FCC guidelines and things that's put in there for pretty much everything they use. So it's a pretty good manual. It's okay. It's not a little booklet, but it's a really small little roadmap, so it's fine. But here it is. Looks so good. That Redragon logo on the black case. We have those USB 3s in the front, the USB-Cs, and the headphone jack, power button, ventilation here on the sides. And then on the back, we have that display, HDMI. There's those 2.0s, the 2.5 gigabit, and the barrel jack. So it's pretty small. It's pretty bare minimum here. We'll go ahead and flip this over for you guys to see. And you probably need to see it this way. All right, there we go. There's the model number, the MPC745. It shows you the input that it needs. And then we have the Ryzen stickers, plus this is serial number, which you guys don't really need that. Yours will have its own unique. Now, what I love is they have the screws separately, and you can mount it, and you can easily access them, not under any kind of stickers or anything like that. Now, let's go ahead and peel back this thermal sticker so we can see underneath here the brand for the SSD. And we have the NVMe 3.0 information here and the type of SSD. Let's go and get that back down. I kind of smeared it a little bit, but that's fine. We can see the module itself is also an FN link for the wireless module. So if you ever need that, now we'll go ahead and get this back on. And then we're going to go ahead and get into the software side of things. We're going to talk about the Windows that's installed, but a little bit of a add-on here. So you will need something like Driver Booster or one of the other mini driver finders here later on, and I'll tell you why. Because we're going to be looking at the pre-installed Ubuntu, and there's Windows 11 Home. But just in case drivers are not found, you might want to have one of those on standby. IOBit has Driver Booster. That's the one that I use. Use it, install the ones that you need, and then let Windows take care of the rest, usually is what I like to do. So just keep that on standby and keep that in the back of your mind. But let's go ahead and hop into starting out with what this looks like when you first boot. Okay, and if you start with Ubuntu, it starts right here. We're on the desktop for Ubuntu. We have a reboot to Windows button, a home folder, and it's already showing up the SSDs here. Nothing too crazy. There's nothing really installed. We do have the App Store for Ubuntu, and we do see the volumes because this is a 1 terabyte, but it does show different partitions. But I didn't do any testing here with Ubuntu because we will get into a different kind of Linux here later. But we're going to go ahead and restart from Ubuntu. Since there's nothing crazy, there's no setup, it just throws you right in. Now, the colors here messed up a little bit for me, just to kind of let you know this is what it looked like capturing through my display and capture card. So it's a little bit weird. It's green, but you do have the UEFI settings, which takes you to the BIOS, or you can click Windows here. You get a command prompt. It tells you, do you want to install it? Yes or no. Now note, this will format everything. It will delete Ubuntu. So either you want Linux out of the box, or you can do Windows. As soon as you press Y, it's going to get started. So just be prepared. If you want Windows, it will get rid of Ubuntu, and that's fine. Now, we'll go ahead and switch on over here to the Windows 11 setup. It starts out just like any other Windows. It's going to go ahead and ask your region. It'll ask for your keyboard layout. And, of course, you skip it if you don't want a secondary one. This is where it's tricky. You want to select I don't have internet, so you don't have to set up an online account, because the version they have here will still allow you to make a local account for Windows 11. Now, go ahead and name your PC. And go ahead and add your password if you want to. And then go ahead and turn all of this off. You don't want Microsoft to have all your stuff. They don't need it. They got enough money. So just turn everything off. And then it's going to go ahead and start loading. Now, we are going to go ahead and get everything pulled over and get back to the desktop. You guys can see here we are on Windows 11 Home. And you can see some of the specs. Now, before I get too deep into it for Windows 11 Home, I got to add an additional step. So when you get it, it will not activate. Now, I thought that was weird. So I reached out to my contact at Redragon, and that is inherently a thing that it will do. Now, I've asked them to add an additional step in the manual that goes over this, or an extra card into the boxes. So hopefully that is a thing that they can do. But you do have to reach out to them for your product key. They don't automatically activate. They don't have them in the box. It is something you have to reach out to their support. So just make sure that you know that. It will not activate. Now, don't be wrong. If you go to Google and you type in Windows version GitHub activation, things may appear, and they may or may not work. And so if, they do, great. But if you do want to just go ahead and activate Windows 11 Home, there are some benefits between Home and Pro, and what we're about to get into here later is LTSC. I'll tell you why shortly. But just note, it won't activate out of the box. So let's go back and let's see some performance of what this machine is fully updated on Windows 11 Home, so we can kind of know what we're working with here, with it being pre-installed if you don't want to do anything else. Okay, I've got Task Manager pulled up here. We've got 4.7 on the RAM. It's bouncing between 0 and 7% on the CPU. And we've got about 166 processes running. This is Windows 11 Home, so I'm going to show you everything that's installed on here, because we're going to check out another version of Windows here later with that LTSC. Additionally, you see that OneDrive icon over there? Yeah, it won't go away. You can either dismiss for 1 week or 30 days, and so you will just forever see it. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and check out something else. But additionally, this does come with Steam pre-installed, if you saw that in the background, and another program. If you look in your program files, it'll just be called Spec. I also reached out to Redragon about that, and this program is meant for a graphical pop-up for like caps lock, num lock, things like that. And I've been assured that it is nothing nefarious or anything virus-related. I also scanned additionally off-screen with Malwarebytes, and nothing showed up. So something that is very reputable in the industry and good for detecting malware. Didn't see anything wrong with it, and they also said that as well. So if you don't like that, you could always do a fresh install of Windows 11 Home if you would like, and the key that they provide you from support should still work, because it's just the same thing as Windows 11 Home. So here's where the addition comes in. We're going to look at Windows 11 LTSC. This is their long-standing support, and what's great about this one is it's meant for lower-end devices. There's also a Windows LTSC IoT edition, which is meant for IoT devices that are just meant to go up in your ceiling or your smart fridge, things that don't have a lot of power, and they don't have a lot of stuff. Now, that one in itself, you will need Driver Booster to get your drivers. Windows will not find your drivers, and that's okay. But they have extra support, say Windows 10, but I tried Windows 10, and I was getting some weird issues with getting into the BIOS and driver support for that. So I would recommend, if you do LTSC, do the edition for Windows 11. Now, since there's been a lot of stuff in the news for AI recently as far as the making of this video, if you want none of that, LTSC, 1, you can still make a local account, and 2, way less AI stuff. But enough of the tech rant. Let's go ahead and go into the next part where we go into the BIOS, which I have to add in an extra addendum to the manual. I couldn't get it to do any of the buttons, pressing and holding, but I did reach out to support yet again. It is going to be before the PC boots. You're going to want to press down F10 on the keyboard and then press the power button. Keep holding it, and you will land in the BIOS. If you do like shift restart, and you can also get into that doing the UEFI settings. That's also another way. But if you're doing this from like a fresh SSD, you'll want to press and hold and then turn it on. Okay, and now that we're in the BIOS here, we can see all the device information, confirming the core count, the model numbers of everything, and the BIOS version and all that. We do have the advanced settings as well, and we can see all the information for a little bit of the memory and the controller. Under security, we do have secure boot, which is not activated. But if you are going to play games that do need secure boot like Battlefield 6, and yes, I know what I just said, Battlefield 6, you want to have this turned on. And yes, we will be looking at Battlefield 6 later in the benchmarks. So stay tuned for that. So go ahead and get that turned on if you want that. It does have TMP 2.0, so you can install any version of Windows 11. And this is where you can change your boot order. I always recommend changing your USB to the first boot, so then you will never have this problem again of not getting into the BIOS. You could just plug in your USB, and you're good to go. But we'll go ahead and get out of the BIOS here, and let's go ahead and go into the installation for Windows 11 LTSC. All right, and here into the Windows 11 LTSC, you have your language drop-downs, keyboards. You can just click next a bunch of times if you just want to leave it on English. Just click on the Windows 11 install and give it a second. Now, the difference between LTSC and LTSS-in, the in version has a little bit more with the EU and some of the compliance-related things there, plus it has no media encoding, codecs, or anything installed preemptively. The regular version of LTSC is going to be your most compatible version, and will find better compatibility / performance with it, unless you don't need the codec stuff, in which case, depending on what this is going on to, you can just click the in and it'll be fine. It'll use less resources. But for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and do the regular version of Windows 11. Next, it's going to search for all the hard drives you have plugged in, and it will show your USB as well. Now, you can see here there's an absolute ton of partitions, and then you can see another partition for disk 1 for Ventoy for my USB. You want to make sure you don't accidentally clear your USB. But go ahead and clear out and delete all the partitions for the for disk 0. And there's going to be 6 of those, and it will take a minute, but it'll get done. Once it's completed, you want to create a brand new partition from the disk 0. And then that'll take a moment for that to catch up. And then once that's completed, it'll highlight on partition 3, which is the largest one, and then you're going to want to go ahead and click next. Tell it to go ahead and install, and you'll just wait for it to complete. Now, we're going to go ahead and skip ahead here to where we can go and look at comparatively between LTSC and the Home Edition of Windows. Now here, we're going to go ahead and look at the programs that are installed. You can see it's vastly smaller than what Windows Home Edition had. Next, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you that it is running LTSC Enterprise. And then lastly, we're going to look at the Task Manager real quick, just as a quick glimpse. We have 3.3 gigs of RAM used. And here's a side-by-side. We have dramatically less RAM. The CPU is running less on the gigahertz. And then also everything else is just lower. And now next, we're going to be going into the benchmarks. This is where we're going to go check out a bunch of games. And I have a nice slew of games. So if you guys want to skip past that, cool, you can. Or scrub through the games, see which ones you like. But we're going to start off with some games that only work for Windows. I have a treat for you. We're going to be doing Windows and Linux. I'm specifically using Bazzite, the most recent release of making this video. And we're going to compare those two systems and see if there's any gains or losses. There are some interesting ones, and then there are some drastic differences. But we're going to go ahead and try out some that I thought would be a great option to show that just do not work on Linux. As a caveat, I did learn that there is a Proton compatibility layer for easy anti-cheat. So if you have a game that uses easy anti-cheat, it should absolutely work on Linux. But let's go ahead and check out the first 3 games that do not work on Linux because they don't have easy and they use their own proprietary thing, such as Battlefield 6. As I mentioned, we're going to check that out, so let's check out Battlefield 6 first. And we have currently the lowest of the low on here, and we have the anti-aliasing TAA, where that is going to help reduce the quality a little bit and make things a little bit smoother. Even with everything blowing up, everything, we have mollies flying, shooting, we get about 30 to 40 FPS. We're running pretty much a maximum on the GPU, but CPU is actually not too bad, about 65. But yeah, 40 to 30 FPS is what you're expected to see. It may dip below that depending on what's going on, but I tried to stress this in a bit of a battle, plus there's a tank nearby, and didn't really see it go below 30. So it is playable. Now the next one is, let's get a little bit better playable Battlefield. This is Battlefield 4. And with a mix between high and medium, I'm getting about 120 FPS, and the consistency is amazing. It runs well. It looks pretty good. No weird handicaps with it. It's just straight up medium to high settings on that. Next, that's the PUBG, which uses their own anti-cheat. This is a mix between low and medium at first. We have 2 parts to this. So I go ahead and I pick up stuff. I go into a building. We're sitting at a solid 60 FPS. It's trying to hold it, but in some of it just can't. But your average will be almost 60 FPS. And I was able to drop in a decent area, but it's not the best. But we do transition to very low. I changed the graphics all the way down for the ability to see what if you just drop it all down, what are you going to get? And that's about 70 to 85 FPS. Now, I'm not in battles. Stuff's not blowing up. I'll be honest with you, I died pretty quickly. I did all the testing with controller, and I suck with that, so it unfortunately did not go too well. But your FPS is pretty good. You can play these AAA games that are kind of beefy. You just got to, have your expectations set that this is a mini PC. Now we get into the fun part, the Windows and Linux comparison. We're going to keep this the same across the board. We're going to start with Linux first, and then we're going to go show you Windows. So Linux will be in the forefront. Every single one, the first one you see will be Linux. So let's check it out. Now, the first one we're going to start out here with is Halo 3 Master Chief Collection with the native settings. This is just, I loaded the game up. These are native. I didn't change anything from what it thought I needed. And we're going to go ahead and show right here on the last level, showing the flood, explosions, particles. And I tell you, we're getting like 150 to 170 FPS through here, even with all the flood, which we get to see here in just a second, all the explosions and particles. It dips to about 120, and that's more of an extreme particle area. But you're going to be seeing, well over 100 FPS on Linux. Now we transition here over to Windows, and it's actually about the same. Just think if it's partially, an Xbox 360, PS3 era game, you're going to be seeing some pretty good FPS and performance out of this, as we have about 160 to 170 until stuff starts exploding and these little floodlings are getting in the way. For a brief second, you saw 190 on there, but as an average, you're getting about 150 FPS. It stays a little bit more consistent, surprisingly, on Linux when clearing out all the floodlings. But this is still fantastic, no matter which side you're going to be on. Next, we're going to be checking out CS2. This is a mix between medium and low. And I don't have any of the crazy DLS or any kind of frame jing going on here. And you're going to be getting about 70 FPS until the smokes come out. Once they come out, you go down to about 45 FPS until you look away, and then you're back up to 70 to 80 FPS. Now, secondarily, we'll go over to Windows, same thing, medium to low. This one, you get a bit better performance out of this. This one stays closer to the 60s range, even with all the smokes. And you will see a bit better performance on the Windows side. Next, we're going to check Pal World. This is low settings with TAA anti-aliasing. Makes it look a little bit crappier, but it does get you closer to that 60 FPS mark that we're looking for. And now that's inside the base. Inside the base with a lot of stuff. We do have a lot of pals out, a lot of materials. This is kind of a mid to early game base. But let's go ahead and now if you're going to be chilling in dungeons, let's go ahead and check how that's going to be looking. Here, you're going to be getting closer to the 80 to 90 FPS mark. Now, I do have my Jet Dragon that I brought in to show for particles when they do appear. So we'll go over here and go over here to this Killamari and sacrifice him for your entertainment for the FPS. And doing that does take us down to like 75 to 60 for a brief second, and then it goes right back up. So it's not too crazy on Linux, and on Windows, it's a little bit better. We do see 60 FPS super solidly here inside the base. Now we're going to go ahead and head over into the dungeon and to get a bit better performance reading on that. Now for this one, I do have Anubis out and Jet Dragon does appear. We are getting 80-ish FPS here at the boss fight, give or take. About the same as Linux and Windows back and forth, so nothing too crazy here between the two operating systems, and they both play quite well on low settings. Now on to BattleBit. As I mentioned, this one can be played, and with an easy anti-cheat, you can absolutely do plenty with this game. Now I went ahead and dropped a smoke for performance, and we do get about 100 FPS with a bit of a mix. So this is the most dramatic difference between Linux and Windows. Right here, we're on a mix of medium and high, and we're getting about 100 FPS. A lot of stuff's flying, a lot of gunplay, and trying to get some revives in, but it's still about 100 FPS, which is not bad. And I mean, it's BattleBit, but it's not necessarily the most intensive. Now, if we switch over here to the Windows side of things, it changes a bit. We can run a solid 80, 90 FPS on ultra settings. Maxed out completely. This game was a bit different, so it's less explosions, but I pretty much got destroyed immediately. But this is just to show gunfire, explosions, and again, 100 FPS, 90, 80, depending on where you're at, on ultra settings. This is the biggest change out of all of them. So there will be a difference with this, and I don't know if that's due to the compatibility layer with easy anti-cheat or not. But you could easily turn this from ultra and do maybe very high, and you could get about the same performance and having much higher quality. Now, lastly, we're going to be looking at one of my favorite arcade games. We're looking at Castle Crashers. So this is pretty self-explanatory. It's max. It's maximum. It's 60 FPS. It's locked. And so it's just doing good. Now, in either side, whether this is Linux, which is what we're starting on first, and or Windows, it's just a solid 60 FPS. And we'll go over here to Windows, and we can see a bit more of the frame timings and everything. And it works great. Your average is 59 FPS. I mean, it's using 16% of the GPU. It's tickling it. That's all it's doing. Now, that's all the games that I benchmarked across the board. Some just Windows, some between them. But I have a question. Just so we didn't have to worry about it for getting takedown notices. Emulation. We do have a question about that. Do you guys want to see an emulation video on this? I can tell you from testing. Give me an emulator. Yeah, that one. Yeah, so yes, it'll work. No matter which one you just said, it will work. I can tell you with the one that shall not be named, that it sues people a lot. Yes, works great, Windows or Linux. It works great. If you want to do anything with Sony, also works. Tried Ratchet and Clank on the PS3, worked great. Lock 60. I could even do upscaling and performance enhancements, and it was still using like 70% of this GPU in this thing. And so if that gives you any kind of inkling from PS3 to the one that shall not be named for suing purposes, if you want to see a dedicated video to that, I'm happy to do it. But I want to do a separate video so this video can stay up and not have to worry about a takedown notice. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to see that, and we'll make a video about that, showcasing not necessarily how to do it, because, you know, where you find things to make things work is on the internet and on GitHub, wink, wink. I can't tell you where because, you know, this is for educational purposes only. If you want to look into that, you can. But what we can do next is let's go ahead and test out some of our normal stuff here on the channel. Let's go ahead and check out the weight. All right, so we'll go ahead and get the scale on here, and the whole PC, all of the above, will be 443 grams. That's without the power cord, but it itself, so if you want to put it on the back of a monitor, that's how much it's going to weigh. Next, we're going to go ahead and do the sound meter test. So we're going to have two of those. We're going to have the sound meter that has the one button, the power button, and then we're going to show you the second one for the loudness of the fan. So I was able to spin up Battlefield 6 and just let it sit there. And we can see the decibel levels for that. So to start off with, the button will be about 53 to 55. Depending on how you're pressing it, you could get it about 50. Now, the irony of this is with the fan test, as well as we're seeing here, that's also about 50-ish decibels, maybe a little bit above, a little bit below. But this is just roaring. It's kind of loud, but it's not super loud. But it is totally fine if you put it on the back of your monitor, mount it, or put it on the desk. Yes, if you're playing something that's maxing this thing out, you're going to hear it. But will you hear it over your headphones? Probably not. Now, if you have some open back ones, that might change it. But other than that, you shouldn't be able to hear it. And now, I know this has been a long-winded video, and if you guys are hearing me right now, thank you so much. You guys are absolutely the best if you're making it this far into the video. I love you. Appreciate it. We're making this thing happen. This is crazy to do. We got a mini PC sent over, and thank you so much to Redragon for doing so. This has been an amazing little beast of a machine. I really did not expect Battlefield to be playable. It's not below 30 FPS. It's not console, but it can do it. I mean, if you have people to play with and you want to play it on the go, you can do pretty good. You could put it at a lock 30 and you probably wouldn't notice much of a difference. You could probably adjust some of the settings as far as like the anti-aliasing and stuff, because TAA kind of makes it the worst. But, you know, if you just lock it to 30, that's different. But this thing can do crazy emulation to AAA games that are well optimized. I wouldn't roll this out with anything less optimized like Call of Duty, or as we saw, PUBG was doing pretty decent, but just some games are just fat heavy. Like a game that didn't get showed, I tried Raft, and it's not the most intensive game, but the optimization's not really there. It got about 50 FPS on like medium. It was weird. Like that, you would expect to maybe get higher, but other than that, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. If you have a game that I can get and test out that maybe is free or that is super, super, super cheap, I'll do that just to give you guys some benchmarks and baselines for that. And then please let me know if you want an emulation video. I'll do a separate one showing you performance metrics to that. Maybe not necessarily how to set it all up, because there are other videos out there, and I'm not huge to go up against the one who shall not be named who sues. So we'll check that out if you guys are interested. But if you guys hadn't done it yet, subscribe. That'd be fantastic, and like the video. We've got some more cool stuff coming on the way. We've got some more stuff to unbox. And through the holiday season and into the new year, this is not stopping. We have so many items on the way. It's it's a bit ridiculous, and we are going to be busy with me and my team over here. So thank you so much for being here. I'm done talking. It's been a while on this video, so thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.